Welcome to the instructional part of the video. You can get tabs and backing tracks if you go to my website, www.erichaugenguitar.com. For additional resources, consider supporting me on Patreon. And for information about the sound tools I'm using in this video lesson, go ahead and click on the description box underneath in your YouTube player. Now let's get to learning. Alright, so our groove here, just so we know, is just D, G, you could do D7, which is, a great candidate. Traffic is all-time one of my favorite bands. Now, instead of, I do cross over into 10th fret pentatonic minor, aka blues zone. But I start the solo. The whole point of this lesson is about making sure we can get the most out of our pentatonic major. So one of the first bendy zones is the, you could call it the Skynyrd note, 9th fret on the G. So let's look at that there. We are, I'm kind of pre-bending that 9 down to 7. There's a little 7, 9 on that. There's our D and our A. Hammer onto that 9. That's our first phrase. Classic Hendrix major pentatonic, or whatever you want to call it, kind of walkout. Flat on the 7 and 7, hammer onto that 9 on the D. Or Ron Wood. I love Ronnie Wood. 9, 7, 5. There's our D chord. So there's our first bendy zone. That note there is, you can get a lot of phrases out of that guy. And then it comes back around again. Same thing again. Different respondent phrase. Which is still playing around with that major pentatonic. Now I'm on the A string, hammering on 7 to 9. And then the melody kind of adds the dominant 7th or the minor 7th, whatever we call it, which is actually the C natural, which is on our 10th fret here, which is a note you can actually add to your major pentatonic if you want that funk. Yeah, so I got a little funky there. So I'm playing around with 7 and 10 on that D. On back to that tonal center, our D natural on our G string, our 7th fret. And then I'm playing around with our flatted 3rd, which is our F natural, and I can kind of pull it up to get a F sharp, which is again 3rd of the key. So that's that I don't consider one of the primary bendy zones, but he is available. That's pretty cool. And then still just playing around with what I call the Skynyrd zone, Yeah, give me 3 steps. But yeah. And then I think I go. That was where I started to be like, but wait, there's more. So here's, if we, kind of milk that Skynyrd zone for all it's worth, step 2 is I'm looking at, how do I fill this major pentatonic out to get the rest of the notes from major or mixolydian, which is just funky major. There's our Richard Lloyd mixolydian scale. 7, 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10. So then the principle is like, the idea that once that note goes up, and this is a country guitar trick, once you push a note up, you can see what else you can do while that note is up. So in this scenario, I'm like, well, let's see. That, a 9 up, that E natural up to F sharp, it gives us that note. So I'm like, well, let's see the next note up in the scale. That's a very Nashville country guitar player thing to do. 9 is up, index fingers on the 8 of the B. He's still up, so you get an interesting crossover. Pinky gets out and gets the 10. There he is. So yeah, he went. And then I'm going to lead into what I consider first secondary bendy zone, which is the 10th fret bender on the B string. Kind of the same idea going. Same idea, push him up, and I'm like, well, I know that there's those other notes around him. So yeah, you get a cool lick that was just kind of, my whole thing is like, if I found a cool idea, I'm going to take it to other areas. Then back to Skynyrd zone. So Pinky is flat on the 10 and 10, and then I'm pushing up that 9 again, the probably the most popular note to bend. But then I get funky with y'all. That's that Mixolydian zone. That is my third bendy zone. So the idea is that note, and that note are all contenders. Those are my 3 bendy zones of major pentatonic. Yeah, that's a lot more than... That's where, I'm not a country guitar expert, but yeah, I have my toes in a lot of different pools, and that's definitely, hey, that's a good trick. So let's see, we got... So there I am at 8 and 8, pushing the 8 of the B up, which is really turning that D into a D7. There's a D7, so, I know my music theory. I know that if I push that third bendy zone up, and that's a G chord, 8 and 7 there. And then I kind of switch to more common major pentatonic zone off of this structure here. That's well, anyway, yeah, that's out of this shape. Arcaged E shape, if you want to think of it that way. I know I do. Very B.B. King kind of thing there. So that's sliding into 12 on the B, 10, 10, 12 goes up. Yeah, where am I? Then a blues bend. That's our C natural, which is actually crossing into pentatonic minor for a second. I gotta remember, I have to play the lick from the beginning. Yeah, and then to get out of it, yeah, so I'm going, 13 goes up, 10 is going to now slide back to that 8 to get myself back in that position. Yep, and then I'm back to bendy zone 2. 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, yeah. And then there's that bendy zone there. 10 goes up. 10, 10, 8, down. Yeah, this is all country guitar stuff. That trick, again, country guitar players would never go. It's all about... The movement of their bends and their notes is all syncopated, and that's where you when you listen to those players, you're like, what are they doing? Anyway, that's one of the many things they're doing. So I got out of it just walking down a major scale. 10, 8, 7, 7. And then it comes, that's right, that's what I did, and there might be, you might catch me do a little Mark Knopfler. That trick. Muted, thumb. Muted, thumb. That's a Mark Knopfler / Albert Lee? Yeah, Albert Lee. Or, any country That's my clunky version of chicken picking. And then it comes around again, right? Yep. And then my ender, I'm still going, that's still the same. And there's kind of as it gets out of that, so when I'm ending that lick, there's a slide back front to get a 12 and 10, still major pentatonic, and then what do I do? Oh yeah. It's one of those licks, they're so fast that I have to just play it so I know what I'm doing. Yeah, so once it does that slide, I just go. That's that sweet funky note, that flat third of our major, which slash is, flat 5 of minor pentatonic. Yeah, which gives it that. And then still walking down that major. So that was 10, 8, 7, 10 on the G, that neat leap. And then there's that 10, 8, 7. And a little pre-bend, a half pre-bend on our Skynyrd note. There it is. To review, once you've backed yourself up into your pentatonic major, you start with what I call the Skynyrd zone, which most of us know, and then start to think about, all right, if I'm bending this note, what else can I do while this note is being bent? And then you start to look at those B and those E strings and see what other notes you can push around, and then do stuff above / underneath, depending on where you're looking at. And so what you notice is that there's actually a lot more opportunity for bendy zones than maybe we would have thought, especially if we're coming from a primarily blues guitar background. So have fun with that, and thanks for watching.